Famous autopsies. Today we're talking about the legend himself, Kobe Bryant.
Tonight we're looking at some TikToks you won't believe are real. Welcome back, family. Thank you to all the channel members for support. If you're seeing this video right now, like it, hype it up so it gets pushed to more people. We're on our road to 100K, so remember to smash that subscribe button. Let's go.
Can I just show you a weird video? I remember this video being so controversial in 2013. Let me just show you. This video literally had everybody thinking mermaids were real. Let me just tell you, this video, when it was released, it didn't have the Animal Planet logo. It was just released, just a normal raw video. So everybody thought it was real, and then we find out it's for an Animal Planet documentary. It's not.
God. Oh my God.
Many watching Animal Planet's Mermaids, the New Evidence, saw it as proof that mermaids do exist. The show, presented as a documentary, details close encounters with the mythical sea creatures.
Dr. Paul Robertson, welcome.
It even featured guests purporting to be scientists.
This TikToker was bullied as a child, and you won't believe what his bully made him do as an adult. Desmond Dennis was bullied as a kid. His bully would punch him for no reason, jump into combos and argue, take people's money, and even eat his school lunches. One day they even got in a huge fight to where he got messed up pretty bad. As Desmond grew up, he remembered those times and they stuck with him. Not only did he not let his bully bring him down, but he used it as motivation. Desmond went in his room and started grinding every day, eventually growing his way to a pretty popular influencer. He's literally living proof that you should never let negativity bring you down, because you can become anything you want if you put your mind to it and not let people bring you down. He was a skinny little kid when he was young, but he even grinded his way to becoming pretty ripped. He's been using this crazy fitness app. Link in the bio if you want to try out the app he used.
You won't believe the actual size of these things. Okay, firstly, we've probably all seen one of these. This is just a regular looking clock tower, right? Well, this is what a clock tower looks like compared to a human. My question is, how did she get up there? Okay, next, this is what anchor chains look like on a ship. But this is what they look like compared to humans. I never thought they were this big. Now, this is what the rusty spotted cat looks like. And this is what they look like compared to a leaf. They are less than 2 pounds, and they are 2 times smaller than any domestic cat. Icebergs look already huge on top of the water, right? Well, that's only the top, because you don't see the full size of the iceberg underwater. I'm shocked. This is one of the most famous paintings in the world, the Mona Lisa. Well, the Mona Lisa is actually tiny. It's smaller than your average TV. Finally, here's an asteroid in the sky. And this is what an asteroid looks like compared to LA. I'm scared.
So that asteroid looks like a huge boot, bro. If an asteroid ever hits Earth that size, wrap it up, buddy.
Unbelievable stories that sound fake but are 100% real. This is Henry Tandy, and he was the most decorated British soldier during World War I, meaning he had the most medals and honors, but that's not why he's remembered today. On a fall day in 1918, Henry was propped up on a war trench just like this when scanning the battlefield before the day came to an end. When he suddenly noticed a shadowy figure walking towards him through the mist, he immediately grabbed his rifle because he wasn't sure if this guy was on his side or the enemy's. But as the figure got closer, Henry realized that this guy was severely wounded and he had a German uniform on, meaning he was indeed the enemy. The wounded soldier had no weapon and just kept slowly walking towards Henry, not realizing the danger he had just gotten himself into. But as the German realized what was about to happen, he didn't try to run away, he just stood there and accepted his fate. Henry couldn't find the strength to shoot this guy, so he let him go. That soldier was Adolf Hitler.
This experiment is so messed up, it's hard to believe that it's real. Today we're talking about Project MKUltra, which was ran by the Central Intelligence Agency back in 1953 through 1973. The experiment operated around a very simple goal, and that was to achieve mind control to get people to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. I can't get into great detail about what happened on here, but I can tell you that a lot of these experiments involved a lot of heavy use of compounds, very messed up mental and physical tampering with the people that were involved in the study, sensory deprivation, i.e. sticking people in like white rooms with no sense of stimulation, extreme isolation with no contact with other people, and even hypnosis. Eventually, Project MKUltra was shut down, however, not before causing irreparable damage to a variety of different people that were involved in the study. And the fact that this was ran by a government agency is actually mind-boggling, but fortunately, it was shut down.
You're gonna gonna live 20,000 years, and science won't let you die. In a new study, experts in aging say that we have the potential to live from 1,000 to 20,000 years. That's a huge jump from 1,000 to 20,000 years, especially when the average life expectancy is only 80. Where's the extra 900 years coming from? Well, it's coming from science, new technology. So basically, you're gonna be full-on You're gonna be full-on cyborg so you can live 20,000 years. And then I guess they just unplug you. I don't know what happens to your soul or any of that stuff, or if those even exist. But hey, guess what? 20,000 years, you can't stop it. Yep, you won't be able to take yourself out. What do you guys think about this? Do you want to live for 20,000 years? Because I do. I just want to keep making TikToks. Forever. W's in the chat for 20,000 years.
I don't really know. 20,000 years kind of freaks me out if you really think about it. That kind of also proves the simulation theory in a way, because like it's trying to say that they'll upload consciousness kind of to like an AI, like a cyborg, or they just keep replacing your body until eventually you're just fully a robot. I don't know if I could do that. Let me know in the comments if you would do that.
While the world is busy arguing about politics, Chinese scientists just quietly de-aged monkeys. Let me try and explain this in American. You see, at the very center of the aging process are your stem cells. Think of them as construction workers, and your body is the city. When the city is young with no corrupt politicians, these workers, they show up in hordes. They fix potholes, keep the streets clean, and build houses for the homeless. But as the city ages and the politicians start to become corrupt, insert your choice of Republican or Democrat, fewer construction workers start turning up. This causes buildings to become run down, trash starts piling up on the streets. Heck, some of those construction workers are now dealing Fent to the homeless. So this team of Chinese scientists from CCMU said, let's try and create a brand new special type of construction worker that resists these corrupt politicians and maintain the city no matter what. And so they created a new type of human stem cell. And all you need to know, it's called SRCs for short. Then over the next 44 weeks, they injected these SRC cells into macans that were the equivalent age of humans in their 60s and 70s. And what they discovered is remarkable. Not only did these new stem cells reverse key signs of aging in 10 major body systems, but they also presented minimal to no negative side effects. No tissue damage, no tumors, no fevers, no weight loss. And at the end of this 44-week trial, these grandpa monkeys, their brains worked better. Their bones were stronger. Their tissues showed less damage. They grew new, healthy cell populations in their brain and reproductive organs. Even their sperm production was improved. Hey, yo! Now, what makes this even more exciting is that this study was published in Cell, which is a highly revered journal where the peer review standards are rigorous. And this was achieved on monkeys, which are much more similar to humans, because the majority of anti-aging studies are done on mice or other simpler organisms. Now, there are some caveats. Because their findings are novel, meaning the first of their kind, there is no replication yet. They also weren't very clear on the sample size. Was this 3 monkeys? Was this 100? And also, just because it's showing promising results in monkeys doesn't necessarily mean that it will work the same for humans. But I don't know. After Xi and Putin recording on a hot mic talking about living forever, something's going on.
See, I'm kind of more okay with that compared to the cyborg route, because with that, at least, like, you know what I'm saying, my body, my natural body is like de-aging. But with the cyborg, that's just kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. Let me know if you do that.
This is what would happen if you found out you were immortal. Year 1, you're born and you're pretty much alive, living a life like everyone else. Your 18th birthday comes and you get into a horrible car accident that should have killed you. It's a medical mystery and a miracle. At 25, you realize that you're in fact immortal. After experimenting on yourself and realizing you can't be injured, this excites you and you start to think of all the possibilities. You start to dabble in things that adrenaline junkies usually do, like jumping from high buildings. You feel like you're a superhuman. Age 35, you start to realize all your friends are getting older and losing their hair, even getting some wrinkles, but you don't seem to look a day over 25. But then it dawns on you, you'll outlive your family, friends, and all your loved ones. You start to panic as your body gets consumed with anxiety. You cope with this by eating tons of junk food that's horrible for you, but you know you can't die from it, so you do it anyway. And this tastes just like your mama's booty. 50 years in, you decide to tell the world and decide to volunteer your body for research. Scientists are baffled. They think you're a freak of nature, but in a good way. At age 70, all your friends have passed away. Even your family, your parents. You start to hang with all their children, all your family's family, to try to cope with the loss and teach them about the amazing people their parents were. You struggle with making new friends for a while because you just lost the old ones, thinking that if you make new friends, you'll outlive these ones as well and go through the same sadness. At 85, you start procrastinating with life. I mean, why not? You got forever anyway. You start to become lazy, consuming all types of media, watching every Netflix movie, playing every video game you ever wanted to play, consuming any type of entertainment just to pass the time. Age 90, you start to really live dangerous, jumping out of airplanes with no parachute, diving to the deepest part of the ocean that no man has ever gone. No problem though, because you're immortal. At 100, the government recruits you to be a super soldier. They put you on dangerous missions that they know no one else could survive. You basically become a superhero. At 110, you decide to travel the world. You realize there's so much to see and do, so many places and cultures to see and experience. 130 years in, and now you're the oldest person ever. You old, yet you still look in your mid-20s. You become a celebrity, a huge hit. You go to events, you get parts in movies, you even walk red carpets. Your immortal power makes you into a big star. At 150, you decide to run for president. I mean, you've done it all already and have been in the country longer than anybody else. Everyone's pretty sure you know how to run it. You start to expand your mind, reading every book you can possibly get your hand on, learning every language. Since you're the longest living person alive, you decide to try to be the smartest as well. At 230, you gain so much wisdom that everybody from around the world is coming to you for advice, and you gladly give it. At 280, you have done it all. You're burnt out. You've married over a dozen times, had so many kids. You start to become severely depressed. And to find an escape, you start using heavy substances. For the next couple of years, you're drinking anything to get your mind off life. I mean, you know you can't overdose. At age 300, you're over it. You're trying to find ways to stop your immortality. You wish this curse on no one. At age 330, you get kidnapped. These are some bad people who want to learn your secrets and learn how to live as long as you do. They start putting you through horrible experiments. And for the next couple of years, you're stuck with them. 10 years later, you finally escape. At age 700, the past has forgot about you. People start to not believe you at all when you tell them how old you are. They look at you like you're a crazy person. So you decide to leave society and live on your own. But your story has gotten passed down, and some people in society still speak of you as a legend or some type of mystical being. 1,000 years in, and you finally decide to return to society. Technology and cities have evolved, but not for the best. So much has happened since you've been gone. But you realize with all your knowledge and wisdom, you can help lead society in the right direction. So you push them further than they ever have been. At 1,500, you become a scientist, helping technology and medicine evolve exponentially. You are starting to lead society to greatness at a pace no one has ever seen before. Even making huge leaps in space exploration. You become a legend, and now you're the richest man in the world. You're 4,800 years old. You become the longest living organism on Earth. Congrats, you broke a world record. At age 7,000, Earth is a utopia. There is no more world hunger, no more pollution, clean energy, and no need for money anymore. Everything is automated, all because of your help and wisdom. Humanity looks at you and your immortal power to help expand them to other planets. 500,000 years in, you start realizing that you're looking nothing like anyone else. Evolution has took its course, and the human race have evolved into an entirely new species. You tell them about their history and how everything started, and to them you are an ancient ancestral god. 1 million years. Population starts to decline because of climate change. The Earth is finally starting to die. But luckily, you have helped some of humanity move on to other planets like Mars, and you discovered one similar to Earth. It's your 7 billion year birthday. Every living human is gone. You drift through space, exploring every planet you could find, meeting new species, new civilizations. You travel space and discover new discoveries all over. I mean, you have eternity to explore, so you do. 15 billion years. There's nothing more to do. You feel nothing. You're hollow inside. You still cling on to the fact that maybe there's meaning to this life still, but you're quickly losing hope. 500 trillion years later, all the stars eventually die out, and the universe experiences a heat death. With that being said, scientists believe that the first person that's going to live to 1,000 is already alive today. So let me know down below, would you want to live forever? Why or why not? Let's have a discussion.
Respectfully, I don't think I could live forever. I feel like that's torture in itself.
Did you know a 13-year-old girl in Arizona became famous for surviving her own birthday party? Her name was Emily Carter. On March 14th, 2015, Emily invited 6 of her closest friends to a sleepover. They played games, ate cake, and posted videos. Online, before going to bed in her family's basement, by morning, every single guest was dead. Authorities said a faulty heater leaked carbon monoxide while the children slept. Emily was found upstairs, alive but shaken, crying in her pajamas. years. The media called her the miracle birthday girl. The town raised $200,000 for Emily's recovery. She appeared on talk shows, gave interviews, even started a YouTube channel sharing her healing journey. Her followers grew into the millions, but in 2019, detectives re-examined the case. After Emily's old diary surfaced, inside were detailed entries: how she sealed the basement windows, how she Googled how long until they stopped breathing, and how she planned to wake up early to post survivor selfies. The most chilling line read, "I only wanted my party to trend." Emily was arrested at 17. In court, she smirked at the cameras and said, "Well, it worked. Everyone remembers my party." Her YouTube channel, still active, millions still watch.
Dude, for a second, I mean, I don't know if this is real, so someone please let me know. For a second, that gave me like a new fear because they said that they died from a faulty heater that released carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide?
Did you know a millionaire businessman and loving father in Indiana, unalived 25 men in his basement, and his own 15-year-old son discovered the truth by accident? His name was Herb Baumeister. Everyone in Westfield loved him. He owned 2 successful thrift stores and lived in a $1 million mansion called Fox Hollow Farm. He had 3 kids and coached Little League Baseball. For 10 years, gay men kept disappearing from Indianapolis bars. Police had no leads. Families begged for help but were ignored. In December 1994, Herb's teenage son was playing in their backyard woods when he found a human skull. He ran to his mom screaming. Herb calmly explained it was from his dead father's medical collection. His wife believed him. But 6 months later, police got an anonymous tip. A witness saw Herb leaving a gay bar with a man who never came home. They got his license plate. When detectives arrived at Fox Hollow Farm, Herb had fled to Canada. They started digging in his backyard. What they found was horrifying. 10,000 bone fragments, all from adult men, all burned and chopped into pieces, all buried where his kids played every day. Police realized Herb's basement had hidden cameras in the air vents. He filmed himself torturing and killing his victims. Then he'd burn their bodies in his backyard fire pit. His wife told detectives something that shocked them. "We've only been intimate 6 times in 25 years, she said. "I've never seen him naked in 25 years. Here's the sickest part. Herb took the murder tapes with him to Canada. Police found the videos in his car after he shot himself, but the tapes were never released. They're still identifying victims today using DNA. The latest victim was found in 2025. His daughter said, "I've been waiting 30 years to know what happened to my dad." Herb's mansion is still there. New owners found more bones in 2022. Write your country and I'll make a video from there.
Famous autopsies. Today we're talking about the legend himself, Kobe Bryant. On January 26, 2020, Kobe boards a helicopter with his 13-year-old daughter Gianna and 7 others. They are at Camarillo Airport to Mamba Sports Academy at Thousand Oaks to watch a basketball game. So due to heavy fog and rain that morning, all air traffic had been grounded. So the flight traffic monitor captures the helicopter circling the zoo, and then at 9:30, the pilot contacts the Burbank Flight Control Center, and he's told that he's flying too low. By 9:40, they're hit with heavy fog, start to head south towards the mountains, and rapidly climb, but by 9:40, they would crash into the side of this mountain, killing all 9 on board. Upon impact, all 9 on board were gone. Kobe had multiple lacerations to his face, neck, and scalp, so severe that you could see his teeth sticking out through his chin. His internal organs and brains were so eviscerated that they were found all over the crash site. He had multiple fractures of his ribs, spine, and hips. His left arm was fractured and his right arm was cut off. The skin of his head, chest, and abdomen was so extensively burned. There were multiple fractures in both of his femurs and both of his feet were cut off. He was just 41 years old when this happened. RIP to Kobe, his daughter Gianna, and all 7 others on board. And his COD was labeled blunt force trauma.
You might not believe it, but this is real.
Yes, it's actually true. Santa's correct. This right here is completely legitimate. At one point or another, you might have heard about something known as the dancing fern. I've actually seen this while hiking as well, and this video is a great example of it. It shows this one part of this fern specifically waving very rapidly, while everything else around it is just slightly waving. The guy recording this is pretty shocked because obviously if you've never seen this before or heard about it, it's a pretty strange phenomenon. Now, a lot of people have different meanings for what these dancing ferns are. There are many superstitions surrounding it, and a lot of people that think that these plants actually have motor function, but this unfortunately is not true. When a fern, or any plant for that matter, waves like this, and only one specific part is doing this has to do with something known as its resonance frequency. When small and almost imperceivable gusts of wind end up making contact with certain plants, it might meet its resonance frequency. This makes the amplitude of its movements much larger, whereas before it might be just waving a little bit. When it meets the resonance frequency, it moves much more. This is something that is very hard to explain with such a short period of time, but if you want to look this study up, you can look up resonance frequency and wind in moving plants.
Not everybody you meet is a human being. Watch this.
I don't know who's gonna get this, but one day, me and my homie, we was in the car and we was just talking about being spiritual beings, right? And how on the other side of this 3D, like in the different dimensions, how we're beings of light, right? And I was telling him how I was able to discern like different people. I don't know how I'm able to do it, but I can just see somebody and know that they're not a person. I don't know. But nonetheless, we were in the car, we were at the park, we was talking, right? And I was telling him how I can see, or I can tell when people aren't really like people. At this same exact time, there was this lady that was walking by, or she was walking towards like the car, right? No, she wasn't walking towards the car, but she was walking, mind you, it's a park, so she was walking her dog. And as I'm telling him this, right, she comes and approaches the car. Like, she approaches the window. And she says, hey, what are you guys listening to? Mind you, we were listening to music. We were just chilling in the car. This older white lady, she doesn't, I don't know who she is, right? But I'm telling bruh at this same time that I'm able to see or able to recognize demons or people that are not human. And then she walks up to the car. We tell her, like, it was just a random song or whatever. But she says, oh, okay. And then she walks off and continues her walk down. I said, bruh, that was one of them. Legit. I said, bro, that was one of them. And I kid you not, bro, I felt like the tears in my eyes because I had no other explanation, but I knew that she knew that I knew.
Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
Did you know after Tupac got shot, Snoop went to visit him, but Tupac called him a bitch for fainting? Everyone thought he was going to make it, but on September 7, 1996, Tupac Shakur was fatally shot in Las Vegas. That night, he attended a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand, where he and his entourage attacked Orlando Anderson, a member of the Southside Crips, in retaliation for a previous incident. Surveillance cameras caught the brawl, but Tupac walked off, unaware he had just signed his death warrant. Orlando, humiliated, regrouped with other gang members. One of them was his uncle, Keefe D., a Southside Crips leader who had once declined a $1 million offer to kill Tupac and Suge Knight. But after the attack on his nephew, he changed his mind. That night, 4 Crips, including Orlando and Keefe D., jumped into a white Cadillac, searching for Tupac. They found him at an intersection. Tupac was in the passenger seat of a black BMW driven by Suge. The Cadillac pulled up beside them and shots rang out. Tupac was hit 4 times. 6 days later, Tupac died at just 25. At the other side of the USA, Nasir Jones, better known as Nas, was just warming up to start his show, but even though he and Tupac didn't like each other, he stopped the show to give a 1-minute silence in his memory.
YouTubers who recorded their last moments. She went ice bathing as usual when she got stuck in the frozen lake and was left trapped in the ice. And even though she tried breaking it, it didn't work.
Because why would you end up doing that? Like,
we have just witnessed the largest delegation ever of US lawmakers visiting Israel, and I almost guarantee you have not heard about it. 250 state legislators representing all 50 states arrived in Israel on Monday, and they attended an event at the Foreign Ministry titled 50 States, One Israel. On Tuesday, the lawmakers then took part in a ceremony where they planted 50 trees, one for each state, at one of the locations of the October 7th attacks. Netanyahu's office described it as the largest ever bipartisan delegation of American lawmakers to ever visit the Jewish state. Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar urged the lawmakers in attendance to pass anti-BDS laws in their states. BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment, and Sanction, and it is a movement started in 2005 by Palestinian activists. Anti-BDS laws are designed to make it difficult or discourage boycotts of Israel, and to date, 38 US states have adopted these laws, resolutions, or executive orders. Gideon Sa'ar said, "We are witnessing a coordinated global effort against Israel today, claiming that their enemies have turned to propaganda, political, legal, and economic warfare." He then said to the crowd of US lawmakers, the best answer against BDS until this day has been anti-BDS legislation by your states. But the timing of this trip couldn't be more controversial. Not only because the day after they arrived, the United Nations Commission of Inquiry officially ruled for the first time that Israel are committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, but also because on the exact same day, Israel's highly condemned ground invasion into Gaza City officially began. And the reason I said I almost guarantee you haven't heard about this is because, to my genuine surprise, literally no major media publication is covering this apart from local news in Israel. And I mean, regardless of where you stand, is the largest delegation of US lawmakers to ever visit Israel not newsworthy? Bro, this cannot be happening. The University of Tennessee will now be offering a GTA 6 class starting January next year. Now, the full title of the course is called Grand Theft America, US History since 1980 through the GTA video games. And it will be taught by an actual history professor named Torcy Olson. And this isn't just for fun or some joke. The professor said that he wants to establish this as a serious college class that will handle weighty and difficult topics. He said in his class he takes seriously GTA's fictional representation of the United States, and that he will be using the GTA world as a serious framing device for a history class that examines what's actually taking place in the United States over the last half century. My Bachelor's of Grand Theft Auto is crazy.
I wonder how they're gonna make that class serious, because GTA is like a very fun game, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very like playful, lustful, sinful. There's a lot of cursing, there's a lot of shooting, there's a lot of people dying. So like, I wonder how he's gonna do it in a way that's like historical.
Did you know a 17-year-old girl unalived her phones, called 911 herself, then spent months on TikTok begging influencers to solve her own crime? Her name is Sarah Grace Patrick. On February 20th, 2025, she shot her mother, Kristen, and stepfather, James, while they slept in their Georgia home. The next morning, her 5-year-old sister found the bodies. Sarah called 911 crying, "Someone broke into our house and killed my parents." For months, she played the grieving daughter perfectly. She posted tearful TikTok videos with captions like, "Please send prayers for healing." But here's where it gets twisted. Sarah started reaching out to true crime influencers, begging them to cover her parents' unsolved murder. She messaged popular TikToker, reportedly, saying, "Search up Brock case. They're my parents. Someone came into my house and shot them, leaving me and my little sister to find them." She helped plan her parents' funeral while secretly being their killer, but police had mountains of evidence against her. In July 2025, Sarah was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. The TikTok influencers she contacted were horrified when they realized they'd been talking to the actual murderer. Sarah is being tried as an adult and could face life in prison. Her trial starts January 2026. She turned her parents' murder into content strategy. Some killers hide from attention. Sarah craved it so much she marketed her own crime. Write your country and I'll make a video from there.
Dude, that's so twisted. She's literally a demon. Like, that's super evil. You know what she did? She literally she literally faked, cried, fake grieved, fake just emotioned everybody into her being the victim when she really was the suspect. Like,
so look at this. This guy gets super mad and he destroys a whole town with a freaking bulldozer. Now, the guy's name is Marvin, and Marvin is a normal dude and he owns a muffler repair shop in Colorado. But Marvin also has a huge problem. Some jerk just bought the land next to his muffler shop and they're building a big new concrete plant there. And this really sucks for Marvin, because a new concrete plant will block the road that customers use to access his muffler shop, and this would essentially kill his business, and he's not about to let that happen. Now, the guy building that concrete plant is actually a family, but that family is led by this guy, Cody. And so around 1997, Marvin and Cody, they go resolve this and they go into negotiations. And Cody offers to buy Marvin's land from him for $250,000. And Marvin likes this deal. But then he changes his mind and he asks for more money. So now the deal's at $375,000. And Cody agrees to pay it. But then Marvin ups his price again to $1 million. And Cody is definitely not going to pay that. So then, in 2001, the city finally gives Cody approval to build his new concrete plant on the land next to Marvin's. Now remember, this is going to block the road to Marvin's muffler shop and kill his business. And so of course, Marvin starts freaking out. He's going to city hall meetings, trying to block Cody from getting rezoning permits. He argues that the plant will not only bring a bunch of dust, but also a bunch of noise and truck traffic down the roads. And some community members even agree with Marvin. But in the end, the city ultimately approves Cody's construction. And soon, the new concrete plant goes up right next to Marvin's muffler shop. And poor Marvin, he is pissed. He hires an attorney and he tries to appeal the city's decision, but it still doesn't work. He then petitions to have a new road built so that his customers will be able to get to his shop. He even buys a bulldozer so that he can do a lot of the road building work himself. But apparently the city rejects these ideas too. And to make it worse, after all that, then boom, the city hits him with a $2,500 fine for what they say is multiple violations. Having broken down vehicles on his property, which seems like it would be part of his muffler business, but whatever. And also not being hooked up to the nearby sewer line. Man, this is just not going well for him. Now at this point, most people would admit defeat and they would probably give up. But Marvin, he can't let this go. He not only lost a bunch of money over this, but now he has to have his shop right next door to the plant he spent so much time and money trying to block. And so finally, bro just snaps. And that is when he comes up with a devious plan to punish not only Cody and his family, but to get revenge on the whole city for screwing him over. And so a few months pass, and Marvin ends up selling his land to a completely different party, and he has a few months left on his property before he has to move out. And so he goes and he gets that bulldozer he bought back when he had hoped to build his own road, and he plans to use his workshop and start turning that bulldozer into an armored war machine and use it to level Cody's concrete plant and also f*** up other buildings in the town. And so he gets to work. He welds thick steel plates onto the bulldozer and he fills them with concrete, basically making bulletproof panels. Here's a picture of it you can see. It's got panels all over it. And since the bulldozer is now covered with all these steel plates, he then mounts cameras around it so that he can see outside. And you can see this picture here. He has little monitors that he has to use in order to be able to see outside. And he also attaches 3 guns to the bulldozer, to the front, to the rear, and to the right side so that he can, shoot people. And so Marvin keeps working on this, and several months pass, and we're in 2004 now. And finally, he's done. His war machine is built, and it will become known as the Killdozer. So then the big day comes. Time for Marvin to use Killdozer to get his revenge. So on that day, he climbs into it, and he bolts the hatch door shut, and he starts it up. And immediately, kaboom, he smashes straight through the walls of his own workshop. Like he doesn't even open the shop door, he just drives right through the wall. Then, of course, he heads right to Cody's concrete plant. And bam, he plows directly into it, and he tears through the administrative office, and he smashes through a bunch of walls. And Cody, he's actually there, and he sees that his plant is being destroyed, and he's like, oh shit! And blam, blam, he fires a pistol at Marvin, but, that doesn't work. Then he jumps into one of his front-end loaders, and he tries to block Marvin from completely destroying the plant. And boom, they crash into each other. But the front-end loader is no match for Marvin's Killdozer. Killdozer easily pushes it out of the way. Marvin even uses those rifles attached to the Killdozer to fire at Cody. Luckily, he misses. And in the middle of all this chaos, police show up. And Marvin, he's firing at them, and they're firing back at him. But whatever, he moves on. Once he's satisfied with how he destroyed the plant, Marvin leaves and he drives into the city. And soon enough, pow, he crashes into a cop car. Then, boom, he rams into a local business. After that, bam, he plows into a pickup truck just because he doesn't like the owner. Apparently the owner wouldn't help him with a petition or something like that. After that, kaboom, he smashes through the town hall. And the town hall has a library with a bunch of kids in it. And luckily the kids are able to evacuate the building right before he destroys it. Now, by this time, of course, police are chasing him, and he's shooting back at them, and they're shooting back at him, and the bullets, they just bounce off the steel plates, so it doesn't really matter. Police even try throwing explosives at him, but that doesn't work either. And so Marvin, he just keeps moving forward, and he keeps ramming into more and more buildings. He rams into the local bank where a woman on the zoning board works. I guess he's trying to get revenge on her. He smashes through the local newspaper office, which had once written articles about him, criticizing him. He even goes and knocks down the home and business of the former mayor of the town. And at one point, he uses one of the rifles to fire at these massive propane tanks near a senior housing complex. I guess he's trying to blow them up too. Luckily, he misses and no seniors die. And so all this destruction goes on for about an hour and a half. And in that time, Marvin ends up destroying around 13 buildings total. And he causes more than $5 million in damages. And now luckily at this point, no one has died. I mean, he's almost killed a bunch of people, not just cops, but like random citizens too. And police, they have no idea how to stop him. And so it seems like Marvin, he's just gonna keep going until this whole town is destroyed. Until Marvin finally screws up. He heads for a nearby hardware store, which is owned by a former town board member that he wants to get revenge on. And so he gets there and kaboom, he starts smashing through it. But then, suddenly, Killdozer won't move anymore. The hardware store has a small basement in it, and the bulldozer had driven over that basement and it had started to sink into it. Plus, Killdozer has a bunch of radiator damage, so it's just not moving anymore. And Marvin is screwed. And so the SWAT team, they're nearby, and they've been following him the whole time. And they see that he's now stuck, and they know that now is their chance. And so they rush over to the Killdozer, and they surround it, and they start trying to break into it. But they just can't, because remember, Marvin sealed himself in there. Meanwhile, Marvin, he knows that this is the end. So before the SWAT team can enter the dozer, he takes out a pistol, and blam, he unalives himself.
Yo, I literally remember watching a documentary on that. I think it was called like Killdozer. Me and my friend was watching it, and it was just like, this dude is insane. He pretty much went around town in a huge tank. Like that bulldozer, Killdozer, whatever it is, was pretty much a huge tank, just destroying everything. I'm surprised he didn't run out of gas. Like, I'm not sure how the gas works on those things, but like, in my head, I'm like, dude, how did you do that for that long?
Thank you all for watching this here video.